Hey, what's up everybody? Today you are taking a walk with me by myself. Brittany is home. She is working today, and so I figured I would take a walk to the Centro in San Luis Potosi. So that's where we're heading to today, and I hope you guys enjoy this. It's just gonna be a nice casual walk. I'm trying to get my steps in case you guys don't know me. I try to get between 10 to, well, lately unfortunately it's been 10,000. Hola. Disculpe, perdón. Time? Dos. Two. Sí, dos. Two. Sí? Sí. Okay. Buen día. So, as you can see, my Spanish is super limited, but I was able to tell that gentleman that the time is 2 p.m. So that's nice. Anyway, what was I saying? Nice casual walk. In case you guys don't know me, I try to get between like 15 and 30,000 steps a day. Lately it's been kind of bordering on 10. You know, it changes depending on my life and what's going on in my life. Obviously you can't work out, you can't train all the time, even though, you know, a lot of us would like to. But this is a good excuse to get my steps in and show you guys around. So the other day I put a video out talking about my first impressions of San Luis Potosi, and I did get some great feedback from one of the subscribers. It's a very small channel still, so I have one fantastic subscriber who's commented on a couple of videos, and that subscriber's name is, I think it's Paw with a GoPro, something along those lines. You'll see this gentleman in the comments. He's been very well traveled in Mexico, and he may or may not have his own channel. I don't recall at the moment, but he mentioned that he kind of disagreed with my first impressions in regard to this city, because I did mention that I felt as though this city was a bit cold as far as demeanor goes, and also a little expensive. Now, I just want to say to all of you who may have seen that video, I might have not phrased what I was trying to say the best. What I would like to say is, it's more expensive when compared to other places in Mexico. It's also more expensive, it's also more cold in demeanor when it comes to other places in Mexico. I'm not saying that this city, this beautiful city, is just expensive and, you know, nasty. I'm not. There's beautiful people everywhere in the world, and I've met many more kind-hearted, loving people here in this city than I have in New York. Let me just pass up these people here. All right, so now I can allow them to be free to talk and not have to hear my voice. So I've met many more kind-hearted people here in Mexico in general. The people are more warm, more kind, more loving. But we've been to many other towns, and in those other smaller towns or cities, in the smaller ones, people are much more warm. So here, many people on the road, oh, forget it. Let me tell you, this is the worst driving I've ever experienced in my life has been on these streets. The worst. Now, I'm not saying that everybody here is a bad driver. I'm not saying that. You can never generalize. But for the most part, a lot of the people here, they're very, very rude on the road.
Oh, it's just, I don't know. People in here are very rude. Like, even when they drive and stuff, they're very, very rude.
Very.
So, like, Potosinos are like a little bit conservative and a little bit not that talky. And that comes generations and generations. And right now, people don't remember why was that, but
that's what they do.
It's a culture that we are like not that talky.
Okay.
there's a lot of near accidents here in San Luis Potosi. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. The driving culture in Mexico in general is different. But when compared to other cities, the people on the road here are more selfish. It's even when it comes to pedestrians. When it comes to pedestrians, a lot of the time, many people will not allow you to walk across the street. Some people will, but unfortunately it's kind of a rarity. But this, in a way, comes with the big city territory, right? When you're in bigger cities, people are more cold typically, and bigger cities are just more expensive when compared to smaller cities. So I'm not trying to scare you from this place. This place is beautiful. The infrastructure is great. The people are very, very nice. They're just not as warm and inviting as some other places. It is also very expensive here. So my wife, for example, we went to 3 different places, and remember, San Luis is huge, right? So you're gonna get different variables everywhere you go. Some places will be a little more expensive than others, depending on where in the city you are. But we went to some kind of sketchy areas because we've been traveling around, right? We've been to some sketchy areas, and we've also been to some very, very nice areas. And even the sketchy areas so far have been very nice, to be honest with you. I've seen sketchier areas in America when compared to over here. But the nicer areas are, how do you say, US prices almost. If my wife wants to go to a very good place in the United States, in New York City, to get her nails done, to get a manicure, you're looking at almost $20. That's the same price as over here. I can't speak for other states in the United States, but I can tell you that over here, it is very expensive. Whether it be for a manicure, a pedicure, or whatever, a drink, a meal for one person, if you're going to a decent restaurant, is gonna cost about $20, give or take. But in some other places, sorry, I'm getting like distracted because I gotta read my text. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what I'm trying to get at is other places in Mexico are extremely cheap when compared to here, even Cabo. I mean, inflation hadn't hit Cabo as much as it is now. Back when we were in Cabo, this was maybe 2 years ago, but Cabo was even cheaper than here. And the other day, we spoke to a barista who lives here, and she said that not only is it one of the most expensive places to live, it's actually more expensive than Guadalajara and and Mexico City, which is unbelievable because right now those are huge expat destinations. Now, I wanted to talk about a little bit about why it might be so expensive here. Of course, inflation has hit everywhere, but we have family who live here who are Mexican. So they've lived here for a very long time. So they can attest to the fact that this is a very, very expensive city in general. One of the reasons why it might be so expensive is simply because it gets a lot of expats in the way of business. Not necessarily tourism, like people are going on vacation, but business. San Luis is a huge industrial city. It has a lot of thriving business here. So when it comes to the business, so when it comes to that aspect, you have a lot of people coming from other countries, Germany specifically, a lot of people coming from Germany and doing business here in San Luis. So that's one of the reasons why it may be more expensive. Whew, just trying to catch my breath. I also want to make sure I'm going in the right direction. So you guys enjoy the scenery while I'm walking. And I'll get back to the conversation in a minute. As you can see, the area that we're in right now, it's a lot less modern. than a lot of the other areas that we've shown so far in our walking tours. But you know, it's a good idea to get an idea. It's good to get an idea. It's good to get an idea of what these cities have to offer in general. And even this area is very nice compared to a lot of other areas that we've seen in general in Mexico, even in other towns. All right, let me see. Yep, apparently we're heading in the right direction. Disculpe. Hola. ¿Dónde está centro?
Allá.
Ah, gracias.
¿Dónde topa?
Sí.
Mano izquierda.
Left. Okay. Muchas gracias. Okay. Buen día. So yeah, as I mentioned, as I was saying, this is definitely more of like a historic, we can call it, area. The buildings are more. Sorry, it's a little bit warm, and I'm walking pretty fast, so I'm breathing crazy. The buildings are a lot more original, as you can see, but that's part of the charm of this city and many areas in Mexico in general. Very, very historic. So in a couple minutes we'll be in the center, hopefully, and you guys will be able to see the center. We went to the center the other day with our friends, and they gave us a great walking tour themselves. I wish I had my camera set up so I could have done that with you, because our friends are very educated about the area. They've lived here for 18 years, and so they really enjoy it, and they know a lot about the area. So they gave us a great tour. Unfortunately, I won't be that good of a tour guide, but I'll do my very best for you guys. Many people, again, they don't typically come here to San Luis for vacation. They come here for work. So they have a BMW factory here. Oh, it's getting a little noisy. Hold on a second. Oh, there's Centro. Okay. BMW factory here. A lot of car companies. And because of that, people are traveling here to work very, very often. The pollution. I want to talk about the pollution. The reason why I wanted to talk about the pollution is because a lot of places in Mexico, the pollution is, well, it's pretty bad. Over here, the pollution has been little to none, at least as far as what my lungs can detect. When my wife and I went to Morelia, we were bombarded by pollution. It was scary. It was very, very scary. And I mean, we loved Morelia, but the pollution was so bad that it took my lungs a little while to get used to how to breathe over there. Again, Morelia is a very big city, so you'll have different places that kind of, you know, speak a little bit differently. When we first arrived here, I couldn't breathe for another reason. The elevation of San Luis is very high, so my lungs still, as you can probably hear in my breathing, are still not used to the elevation. So I'm trying to get used to it, and by the time we're ready to leave, that's probably when I'll have gotten used to it. But that's okay. We're going to Guadalajara next. We know that Guadalajara will very likely be not very likely, will be much more populated, which is pretty scary. The traffic will be a lot worse. Basically, what we've seen on our travels is that the bigger the city, the more expensive it is, the more pollution, the more colder of a vibe you'll get. Not to say it's cold by any means, but the colder, it gets a little colder. There's a spectrum, right? So because of that spectrum, you'll see a lot of the issues amplified. It's very expensive here, but the barista the other day said that in Guadalajara and Mexico City, it might actually be cheaper. So I'm very interested in seeing whether or not that's the case. We'll see what happens, and we'll take things as they come. But so far, as a whole, the people have been beautiful here. It's just that we've seen more outgoing people, more love in general from other places. Like in other cities, many people would look at us, nod at us, attempt to talk and be friendly. Like, I've made friends in other cities simply because they will walk up to me and try to be my friend. Random people. That has yet to happen here. It happened once here. It happened once. And that was a very, very nice experience. Well, it was a beautiful guy, and I don't remember what his name is, but he was very kind. Maybe it was this guy. Anyway, as you can see in the distance ahead, the big yellow building there, that looks like a church. Whether it is or not, I can't guarantee it, but it's probably a church. In the center of the city, in Mexico, in all the centers, there's usually churches. And let's see here. I'm not sure what that says. I really need to learn Spanish. But yeah, so we'll check out the buildings. We'll check. See, like, for example, the people here are kind of rushy. In other cities, it's super laid back. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Mexico, because it's more laid back. It's more of a chill, laid back vibe. I'm not saying it's not here, but I'm saying it's less, much less. La Paz, super laid back. Where my brother lives, La Piedad, super laid back. Where else? Morelia, super laid back. Many other places. We've been to a whole bunch of places. Very, very grateful to say. Just take all this in. This is the center. Look at this beautiful architecture. It's gorgeous. Really, really charming. Very beautiful. I mentioned in my other video too that it's more bordering on neutral, right? I mentioned that this state, from what I can tell, is more neutral. What do I mean by neutral? What I mean is, it's not a magic town. Everything, as you can see, the colors are very neutral, except for, certain areas. The colors are very neutral. A lot of tans, a lot of browns, a lot of grays. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of cities in Mexico are going to have a lot of color, vibrancy, and things such as this. This town has a lot less of that. Again, there's a spectrum. I have to keep saying there's a spectrum. And there's nothing wrong with the spectrum. Change is good. This has been a beautiful place. The people have been very, very nice as a whole. Very, extremely clean. I'm blown away by how clean it is. Well paved and things like that. The other day, we went to one of these restaurants. They have rooftops. And we went to the restaurant to eat. It was very nice. Look at this. Look how beautiful. Just taking it all in. I mean, the art scene in Mexico in general is just gorgeous. Very, very talented. Very, very talented, and what else? Artsy. That's the wrong word, but in touch with their talents and artsy. I'm butchering what my thoughts are, but I'm sure you guys get the point just by looking at the flowers and the balloons. Whew. So anyway, the point that I was trying to get at is there's spectrums, and a lot of different cities have been quite different. But all cities are different in Mexico. All the cities are different. None of the cities are the same. So for example, in other centros, in other centers, city centers, which I will show you. Let's take a walk around the center here. I'll show you in some other videos when we finally get to it, because we'll be traveling around. We'll show you some other centers. and give you an idea of what those centers have to offer. A lot of other centers are more vibrant, meaning like what I mean by vibrant is there's more going on, there's more activity, there's more shopping. Of course, this is during the week, so it's gonna be a little bit toned down, but you still have gorgeous architecture and stuff like that in other centers. But I've noticed it's a lot more like neutral here. People are more quiet. Nothing wrong with that, just different. More quiet. What else? Yeah, just more of like a neutral vibe. So we actually just came walking down this street. I just wanted to show you some of the little shops there, some of the little stands. Let's see here. You know, it's funny. I never knew before I came to Mexico that there were pigeons here. I thought that was like a New York thing. Shows you how ignorant I am. I know I'm going to regret saying that on camera, but that's the truth. Take it in. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. I mean, you can't deny the beauty that even this toned down city center has. Whew. By far my favorite place, my two favorite places in Mexico so far, because we try to avoid expat areas. I mean, we've been to San Miguel, you know, we've done a couple of expat things, Cabo, whatever, but we try to typically avoid that because we want to kind of experience the culture, the actual culture. We don't want an American culture because we're coming from an American culture. We would rather see a Mexican culture. So a lot of the places that we've been to, out of all the places that we've been to, I have really loved La Paz and Guanajuato. Really, really beautiful places. Let's take a walk down here. Whew. Between the heat and the elevation, I'm really feeling it. Now, something else that I wanted to mention is the weather, right? The weather here is very neutral also. Kind of goes along with, I guess, everything, right? Very neutral. You're getting a range, and it's a pretty consistent range. I think it's between like 50 degrees and like 80 something degrees, pretty much year round. It's not so much hot here as I think you're closer to the sun, so the sun is like different. You're burning a lot more here, even though it's not even hot. That's what I've noticed. I don't typically burn too easy, and I've noticed my arms are burning. So I've been using sunscreen. As you can see here, the driving culture, this woman here in the car barely slowed down, and the motorcycle barely slowed down. And it might have looked like a very close collision if you're from the United States. That almost collision that we just saw was actually a very good, very, very good experience from what I've seen. Many times people just blow through stop signs, blow down the streets. So much, I'm surprised we haven't heard it already on this journey. So much you'll hear screeching tires because people are slamming on their brakes trying to avoid a crash. And it's happened to me too, because the driving culture here it's insane. It's worse than Morelia. And when I experienced Morelia, I was shocked at how bad Morelia was when it came to driving. But the driving here makes Morelia actually look good, which is scary. One of the reasons why the driving is so bad here is because for about 10 years, they did not require people who wanted driver's licenses to take tests. So there were no road tests necessary to get licenses for over 10 years. Now they're implementing it again, from what I understand. Now they're going to be implementing tests because they don't want people to continue getting into accidents. We've seen so many accidents since we've been here. It's really, really wild. So when you come here, if you're gonna drive, be prepared for culture shock. Because, I mean, I thought driving in New York City was bad. No, at least in New York they have signs, and a lot of the time people are following those signs. They might be crazy on the road, but over here, you may find signs, you may not. And even when there are signs, a lot of time, people are not following them. Put on. But again, there's a spectrum, right? I'm not saying this place is bad. I'm saying it's beautiful, amazing, and unique. That's what I'm saying. Very unique. Notice I said driving culture. I'm not talking about habits. I'm talking about culture. The culture has become a very lackadaisical way of driving, a very selfish way of driving. That's the culture here. You have to acclimate to what the culture is. So I find myself, when I'm here, needing to drive similar to the way they drive in order to keep up with them so I don't get killed, which is sad and scary, but you try to make it work the best you can, and it's unique. It's very unique. More churches. Very beautiful, very nice, very clean. Let's walk over here. We'll walk around this center area here. You see, the art scene here is incredible. It looks like this says justice for XIO. I don't know what that means. Much more subdued kind of a center, again, compared to other places. And much more neutral. I keep repeating that because you're going to see so many different types of things in Mexico, and this has been a very, when it comes to architecture, when it comes to colors, when it comes to like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the place is very well manicured, but have you ever heard an artist, like a musician, who sings perfectly? They sing perfectly. It's not unique. It sounds like almost all the other perfect artists who sing. That's kind of the way I feel about this town. Is it not unique? No, it's very unique in its modernness. I don't know if that makes any sense. And if you're blown away by any of the buildings here, if you're blown away by any of the things over here, man, wait till you see some other places. Because it's much more, it seems like other places are much more rich in their culture. Again, there's a lot of expats here, right? Well, maybe not expats, but people who are coming here for business. So the culture changes as the people who come in change the culture. Very expensive, lots of really like very expensive shops, stuff like that. In a lot of centers, you see a lot more balloons, flowers. Man, I can't wait to go back to Guanajuato one day, man. My wife does not want to live there, but I would live there. because it's like you're living in like a Disney World. You know, it's like magical every single day. Oh, perdón. So you see like how that motorcyclist, not trying to harp on it, but you see how he didn't stop for me? That's a common occurrence. When in other cities, it's very common for people to just stop when they see people, to let the people go. That's been my experience. If it's different than someone else's experience, that's fine. I'm telling you what 2023 looks like. The food here, it's been good. We've seen a lot more authentic, unique food in other parts of Mexico. Again, it's just different. It's just different, nothing wrong with it. And yeah, that's all you have to know. It's different. Different, and undoubtedly different in a good way, because it's unique. We've seen a couple of Chinese restaurants since we've gotten here, which is pretty cool. I see one across the way right now. Almost got my 10,000 steps. This is kind of weird. I don't know if this guy's on drugs or what. Guy in the street. Oh, no, gracias. So let me talk a little bit about the homelessness. Let me talk a little bit about the drugs. Let me talk a little bit about that. That's the first person who I've seen so far who does look homeless or looks like they're on drugs. That's the first person so far, which is amazing. Many big cities typically have people who are homeless, people who are on drugs. Take a look at New York. Something that I love about Mexico is they have bathrooms that you can use, public bathrooms. In New York City, I don't know about, you know, other parts of New York, you could come to a point where you might have to use the bathroom and no one even lets you in to use your bathroom. At least here they give you public facilities. Now, in those public facilities, you have to pay. you're paying like maybe, I don't know, 25 cents or something like that USD, which is more than what it would cost if you wanted to actually buy something in a store in order to use their bathroom in the United States. And many times places will refuse to let you use their bathrooms. I've spent, you know, $60, $100 at different venues in the city, and they don't even have a bathroom out there for you to use. And when you ask them to use the bathroom, even though they have one for the employees, they don't have one for you. And they'll tell you, oh, walk down the street, go to Starbucks or something like that, which is unbelievably terrible. But that's become a part of the culture. Very sad to say. And so we'll continue with checking out this beautiful area. Talk about masks, because that might be something that you care about. Over here they're called cubre boca. I think I'm saying that right. A lot of people are still wearing them. For a while, Mexico ended up stopping with the masks, and then apparently there was like an upheaval in the virus, so they started wearing them again. Many places don't take them seriously, but then many places do. Like, don't even try to go to a Walmart without a mask on. Forget it. You will get hounded and tackled by the people who work there. There is no way you should give that a shot. So this was really frustrating. I mean, it's probably frustrating to the residents too of Mexico, right? The people who live here, the locals. It's probably very frustrating. But unfortunately, that's just what it is. You have to wear the mask. And then once Walmart's stop with the whole mask mandate thing, that's when you know it's safe for you and all the other stores to stop wearing it. These are so cute. Everywhere you go, you see like these little suits on little kids. These little like kid mannequins. It's adorable. Look at these little jeans over here. Beautiful building, right? As I walk through here, I'm reminded of all the other towns we've been to, and it makes me miss the other towns. I mean, I'm enjoying myself thoroughly, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's kind of like it's a toned down version of Mexico in a way. Remember, we're on a spectrum. We're on a spectrum, not insulting the town. I can't count the amount of times that I've used the word beautiful when talking about this place so far. All right, so we've kind of traveled, we've kind of seen the center. I think we're probably going to end up heading back pretty soon. I don't know how much more there really is. As you can see, the center is full of ice cream shops, coffee shops. I think there's a couple museums, government building. You know, it's a super chill version of Manhattan. Super chill. We came here the other day to get some stuff, and that was nice. I think Brittany got a lemonade here. I hope wherever you guys are in the world, you're having a great time. If you ever want to see a really beautiful place, Mexico is definitely one of the beautiful places. So unique, so much culture. Highly recommend it. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos I'm putting out. Let me know if there's anything in the comments that you want to see or you'd like to see. I hope that everybody at home is doing really well. We miss everybody very much, and we can't wait to see you guys again soon. And hopefully at some point we'll be settling down somewhere in this beautiful country and be able to invite you guys over. That'd be great. I'll just walk around a little bit more, give you guys a little more visual. I'll probably chill with the talking to give your ears a break, and you guys could just take in what we're looking at. maybe I'll talk a little bit more. So, something I wanted to mention too, in case you guys are driving, right? My wife and I took our car here, our American car. We have a Prius, so we have never seen in Mexico as many Priuses as we've seen here in this city, which is pretty fantastic. It gives us hope that if for any reason there's a problem with our car, we'll be able to have somebody who can fix it. But keep in mind, if you're bringing like a hybrid or some kind of electric vehicle to Mexico, very unlikely you're going to be able to find people who can service those easily. Another thing I want to mention is we were deathly scared to bring our car to Mexico because we've heard of a lot of stories where people were pulled over, people were bribed by the police, like give me money in order to, you know, for us to let you go and stuff like that. So what we did was, well, what I did was I bought a camera for my car, put the camera up on the windshield. So, and it's a really huge, noticeable camera. So you can't miss it. So if somebody pulls you over, they're gonna see there's a camera. I did that for the police. That's why I did that. So far we have had no problems. Am I naive enough to think that we will continue to have no problems? No. I know that at some point we will have problems. Problems meaning be pulled over, you know? But we were deathly scared of driving here with New York plates, and so far there's been no issue. We crossed the border in our New York plate car. No problem. Obviously we got stopped at the border. They went through our stuff. Gratefully it was like a half-hearted attempt. They just kind of like, you know, pretended to go through our stuff to make it look like they were doing their jobs. Gratefully enough. And then they let us go on our way. And it wasn't an issue. So I just wanted to mention that in case you guys may be worried about driving your out-of-state, out-of-country plates. Not a huge deal from what we've seen so far. I do believe that maybe in a more touristy area like vacationers, maybe then it would be an issue, more so than here. But who knows? I'm just telling you my experience so far. Found a place online the other day in the city center for 80,000 USD, and the pictures were phenomenal. It was, my wife and I were like, wow, we need to see this place. We called our real estate agent and he got in contact with the owner, and they ended up, it was an old listing. It got sold last week. So we missed it. I would have loved to check that place out, just to see what a home in the center of the city would look like. Something else that I love about Mexico is there's garbage pails everywhere. They don't do a lot of recycling here. Some places more than others, but for the most part, you're just throwing the stuff in the regular trash here. Certain things you'll find very cheap compared to like the United States, like maybe parking. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know, $2 for 2 hours, something along those lines, which isn't too bad. But then like the food, oh, forget it. The food is just extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. In the US, we were spending between $150 to $200 a week on food. We're doing that the same here. And that's not counting eating out. You know, you're in a new place. You want to be able to eat out. You want to be able to get to know the types of foods. You want to, you know, sample the tamales and all that stuff. Or go to like some really nice restaurants. It's been really hard to grasp that you're paying such a high premium when compared to other states in Mexico. I love these flowers. Notice no crossing lights, right? That's a majority. No crossing lights. So you got to get used to that. When you have an opening, you have to go. Because if you don't go, you'll be standing there all day. Very unlikely someone's going to let you by. Something cool is I found that they have a lot of underground electric here. I saw that originally in Guanajuato City. Guanajuato. I saw the underground electric. I was, wow, that's really cool. They have a lot of that here too, I've noticed. As I'm walking, I'm thinking of things, you know, I'm looking around, I'm taking in the surroundings, and I'm being reminded to mention certain things that maybe you guys aren't familiar with. A lot of time when you come to a stoplight in Mexico, in many different states, including this one, you're going to be approached by people selling things. They're working for a living. That's their job. In the United States, it's very common to see people just begging and not trying to offer anything back for, you know, not offering a service. Here, they'll juggle in the middle of the street. They'll offer to pack your trunk if you go to, you know, food shopping, stuff like that. They're very like service oriented here, and they really work for the money that they're trying to obtain, which is really cool. I think that's fantastic. You'll see a lot of window washing, you know, mobile, not mobile, but like on the street car washes, people walking around with buckets, people trying to give you something in order to be paid. And I really, really like that. I think that's really cool. So you see, it's, oh no, this is a different area. I was gonna say something else. Don't mind me, guys, don't mind me. There's gonna be a lot of me rambling in this. I'm not cutting it out unless something crazy happens. I'm not gonna be editing this video. You guys can just listen to me ramble on. Let me know what you guys like better. Do you like the walking tours with the music, or do you like the walking tours with the talking? Let me know. Do you like them at all? Do you think there's something better I could be doing with my time? Let me know. Some of the places that my wife and I are really considering is here, Morelia, and La Paz. Those three places are high on our list. I was so blown away, and still am, with this city, because it's just so clean, so well kept, so beautiful. And I want to say, again, so safe. So far, it has been very, very safe, very homey feeling. Like you're in the middle of a big city, yeah. You have a lot of traffic, a lot of crazy, nasty drivers, which is, you know, not something that you want. But at the same time, as far as crime, it's been unreal when it comes to how safe I feel. My wife and I have been walking at night. We've been walking in many different areas. I have yet to see something that has made me look twice, gratefully. The first thing that I can point out actually was that guy in the center who was walking in the middle of the street who looked like he was on drugs. That was the first time I felt a little uneasy. Other than that, it's been great so far. So let's hope it stays that way. It's a college, I believe. I think we've come past here a couple of times. Another thing, so I just heard the music in the car. This has been a very quiet city, and that goes kind of goes along with the neutral vibe a lot of Mexican places, towns, you know, cities, whatever, very, very loud, very noisy. Oh, very noisy, very different culture, because it doesn't bother them. To us, it's noise. To them, it's regular. You know what I'm saying? But this town, very, very quiet from what we've seen and from what we've heard and all that stuff.
Dijo que de lado y lado, ¿verdad?
I mentioned the other day that the area is a lot less dusty than some other places. Depending on who you ask, that is going to change, and depending on where you are in the city, that's going to change. The reason I mention that is because dust is a huge deal, and you may not believe that. You may think, oh, you know, it's not a big deal. I could deal with some dust in order to live in a nicer place or a less expensive place, or to live in Mexico, whatever. You might be thinking, oh, dust isn't a big deal. Well, if you haven't experienced it, man, it will be a big deal once you get here. Whether you get used to it or not is another story. Sometimes people will get used to it, sometimes people will not get used to it. It's very likely that you might not be able to. In certain areas, the pollution or the dust may actually prevent you from living there. If you were going to ask me what my favorite place in Mexico so far has been, I would have to say it's probably La Paz. Probably my favorite place. The reason why we're not really considering that place off the bat is because of the dust, because that place is really dusty. And the other reason is because of the heat. The heat, it could get very, very hot, hotter than Cabo. It can get very, very hot over there. So that's something that we are not necessarily, you know, too excited about. Brittany has extremely heat and cold sensitive issues. So we're trying to find a place that's a little bit more neutral. And even in the winter time over here, I think it's because of the elevation, you're kind of still feeling that heat, even though the temperature is not too hot. It hasn't been humid so far. It's the winter time, so in the summer maybe it'll get more humid. But apparently this is supposed to be some of the best weather in Mexico, in San Luis. It's crazy. The streets here are very well kept, like I mentioned, compared to other places. You still have your big cracks, your dips and your drops and all that stuff. But for the most part, it's very level, very, you know, easy to walk for the most part. But you still even seeing the people who live here, you still even see the people who live here tripping, falling, and they live here. It's like, you should be used to this, but it's very easy to get hurt. As far as accessibility for like an older person, I think this town would be very, very good. It is like probably one of the best towns as far as being able to travel on foot. Even though it does have a couple of, you know, problems, it's mostly good. The pavement is mostly flat, very, very easily accessible for, I would say, a large majority of people. That's so cute. Sitting on the side of this mechanic shop was a bottle of Coca-Cola and an avocado. Gotta love it. Now, like, for example, you see this here, what I'm about to show you? This is in the middle of the road. You could just literally walk and fall into there at night. Now, this is something that is not uncommon in Mexico in general, and it's been better here than in most of the places that we've seen. You see a lot of blind people walking around, and I don't know how they do it. They have their sticks, but man, there's so many dips. Look at this dip. Look at this drop. If you're not paying attention, whew. Another interesting thing is, this is how they hold spots here. You see the colors here? I love seeing the colors, and that's something that I miss from the other cities because it's not as prevalent here from what we've seen. $11,628 steps so far. That's pretty good. Look how gorgeous it is. I love the cobblestone streets, the manicured trees. It's so peaceful. And again, it is. Hola. No problem. Have a nice day. Buen dia. That was very nice. I love encounters like that. The children that we've seen here are so like open, and like we'll be walking down the street and a kid will see Brittany and I, and they'll be like, hello, or you know, smile and wave. It's so nice. That's what we see a lot in other cities with the adults, but we haven't been seeing that really here with the adults. We've been seeing it more with the children, which is cool. But hey, listen, that's part of life, right? The woman at the barista that we saw the other day, she said that her father grew up, I don't remember what town it was, but grew up in a much more small town. I don't remember what town it was. And so he was used to very friendly people. Then he came here and he would say hi to people on the street and they would look at him like, I don't know you, don't say hi to me. That goes along with a lot of the large city life. That's just what it is. Children, they're more innocent. They're more open. But as you grow, you start to get jaded. You start to realize what life is about. And then that kind of goes away. You get into a grind of having to work, and all of a sudden everything is rush, 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 money, money, money. That's kind of like what we're trying to get away from in the United States. That's one of the many reasons. This is so funny, right? That's one of the many reasons that we're trying to get out of that culture. So that's been something that we have to consider. Is it worth moving here or not? It's still way better than the United States, or at least, New York City, still way better in regards to kindness and, whatever. But when you have other places that are more open, more welcoming, still have that childlike mindset, it kind of makes me want to move there, because you can make more friends, you can have nicer conversations, you have people who will take their time and listen to you and learn about you even though they don't know your language. You can learn about them, all that good stuff. But it's such a privilege. It's such a privilege to be here. Such a privilege to be here in general, though. I'm so grateful to be able to experience this wonderful culture. I love the trees. All the trees in Mexico, they're painted half white. And I don't know why. But it's very nice. It's charming. Something that I've been having, I haven't really been having trouble with it, but it's definitely something that I need to keep in check, is the fact that when you come here, the food is so rich in calories and so delicious that, forget it, you'll be eating everything. And you'll be gaining weight and you don't even know why. Well, I know why, but many people wouldn't even know why. Oh, I only had 2 tamales today. Well, how many thousands of calories were in the one tamale? So something that I did that may help you guys is I actually switched. Well, I'm in the process of testing out Magic Jack. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but you download Magic Jack on your phone, and now you're able to have a US or Canadian number in case you're in another country and you need to call the United States for whatever reason. And you can do that for like $4 a month with Magic Jack, which is pretty amazing, right? All you need now is a data plan. So for example, here, I would go ahead, download Magic Jack. It'll give me an American number. And now I can get rid of my US cellular plan and simply buy Mexican data. Buy Mexican data for super cheap. And now you still have an American number because you have Magic Jack, and you can move forward from there. Magic Jack has not been so far very like intuitive or have a lot of features like a lot of like you know, maybe your normal phone would have, but at the same time, when you're paying like $70 a month USD for a phone plan, well, you could be probably spending your money elsewhere, right? Like tamales or something. So you could have to buy some new pants. But yeah, so that's what we're in the process of trying to figure out. I'm pretty sure that it's probably going to work just fine, and I'm pretty sure that I'm probably going to end up dropping AT&T. Quick tip for you guys who are coming from the US, AT&T phone plan in Mexico, if you buy it here in Mexico, is half the price, than when compared to the United States. So if it costs you $800 a year in the United States for a phone plan, it's costing you $400 if you buy a Mexican AT&T plan. So just a quick tip in case you guys still want to keep AT&T or something like that, but you don't want to spend the American price. Anyway, we're getting pretty close to the end of my walk. I got my steps in, almost 15,000 at this point. And so I'm probably gonna let you guys go. I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if this is something that you did enjoy. I know I enjoyed it, spending time with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Take care, be safe, catch you all then.